Hey guys, Buttery Fries here, and welcome to my ranking of every Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2 level. Now in this video we're going to be putting all the levels, all the normal levels and the hard levels into a tier ranking thing, and we're going to be starting with Backstage. Please leave a like, follow, subscribe or whatever, because this video took me quite a while to make. And yeah, so we're going to be starting with Backstage, but the gameplay will be in flat mode because obviously I broke my VR. So yeah, that's why you guys haven't been getting a lot of VR content recently, so sorry about that. I will be sure to get a new one soon. And let's get started. We're going to be starting with Glamrock Freddy in Cold Storage. Now, Cold Storage is usually the level that most people start with when they first play Help Wanted. Now, in this level, you're required to get Little Jimmy's birthday cake out of Freddy's stomach hatch. To do this, you have to melt away ice, open his wrist pads or whatever, and retrieve the cake. Also, there are parts where you need to keep him cool when he starts to get too hot. Now, this level does a good job of what it does. It's basically just there to have like a little parts and service game, so the game can have a little parts and service, and it does its parts good. It's a good parts and service. Definitely doesn't top the original parts and service games from the first game, but it does good at what it does. So for that, I'm going to put this in B tier. It also was really fun to see Glamrock Freddy again, by the way. So next up we have the first aid levels. In the first aid levels, you'll be required to help Helpy when he will have problems in many different ways. This could be such as a broken leg, broken arm, rabies, eye infection, or something wrong with his brain, and you'll be required to fix it. Now in this level, if you deal damage to Helpy, or like for example hurt him, he will scream. Now, if he screams, you must put the mask on as fast as possible and check either the left, right, or center of the room. One of 3 animatronics throughout the levels will be coming after you, and if Helpy makes noise, it will attract them. So to defend yourself from this, you need to stop Helpy from making noise and look at the animatronic until they've completely disappeared. Also, the TV can turn on playing an ad. You must use the remote to turn off the TV as fast as you can if this happens. And again, look at the animatronic until they disappear. Now, this level, the first level that being, Pig Patch, is pretty boring. Yeah, it's pretty boring. I mean, it's simple. There are no ads in this level, but, you know, it is nice to help you get started, but it's a really boring level. I did not really have fun with the first one. They get a lot more interesting as they go on. So, for that, I'll probably give this level a C tier. Not very memorable level for the first one. Decent, but a good starter level. So yeah, we'll be giving it C tier. Now, the second first aid level ups the ante in 2 ways. The first way is the faster animatronic, that being Lefty being faster than Pig Patch, but not by too much. But the second thing that ups the ante is the way ads are now introduced into the game. So again, you must turn off the TV as fast as you can, and it can catch you out if Helpy starts screaming and then the TV goes off, and it should give Lefty enough time to kill you. So watch out for that. Now this level is actually quite a lot scarier than Pig Patch. I was never personally scared of the Pig Patch level, but it's pretty good. And this level is a lot better in my opinion. It gives you a lot more like of an on-edge feeling because of the TV remote. It's just the fear of the remote going off any time and could possibly end your run. It's actually quite scary, and Lefty himself, or herself, I don't really know, is actually quite scary in this level. So for that, we're going to give it a B tier with Glamrock Freddy. Now this is the hardest level of all of them because Scrap Baby is the fastest animatronic, and if you're on flat mode, I feel bad for you when it comes to grabbing the remote. Anyway, this level is easily the scariest, and speaking of that, just want to point out, yes, this is the same Helpy clip for the third time, but hey, I do not want to play those levels again. They were terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not afraid to admit it, fight me. Anyway, yep, thought I was cool there. So this level is the final of the first aid levels. In this level, it's the same, obviously, but there's a lot of key differences. Certain surgeries will take a lot longer on Helpy, and ads will play quite a lot more often, and Scrap Baby is incredibly fast, and you have to be on your wits if you want to make it through the level. It's quite difficult, and just hope you don't get that one surgery. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, this level, it's definitely better than Helpy. It throws everything you've been learning into one big level, obviously. Well, it's the same size as the others, but still, it throws everything you've been learning into a level, and it ups the ante on everything, so you have to be ready. So, this level, it's not much better than Lefty, so I think, that's like I've got a whole team over here. I'm going to give this level also a B tier because it's better than Lefty, but not good enough to have its own tier. So for Fizzy Faz, we're going to be covering Night 1 to 4 in its own section and Night 5 again in its own section. So for Fizzy Faz, you're required to create syrup drinks and send them up the machine using ingredients available to you, with the nights getting progressively harder as they go on. Now starting with Night 1, it's pretty boring. But to be fair, you can't really blame it, as the whole point is just to introduce you to the game and how it works. But again, it just feels so empty, just sitting there waiting for ingredients and putting them up the machine. No challenge, nothing to keep tab on. It just keeps the player sitting there and thinking, wow, is this really it? But don't worry, this is definitely not it. But for a night that I have so little to talk about, I'm gonna have to give this level a C tier. Night 2 definitely steps up the difficulty quite a bit, with that being a new ingredient you need to also maintain, that being protein, and bots needing breaks. Now, if a bot feels it's being overworked, it will transform into a nightmarish form and stare at the camera, with a warning sign at the top right of the camera, or left, I forgot, and the corresponding camera glowing yellow to show you which camera. Now, if you see this, you must hit the pause button at the bottom of your little tab where you watch all the cameras to give the bot a break. If you don't, then the bot will approach your office and you must use the red lockdown button to lock down the building to protect yourself. You can only do this 3 times though before it can no longer save you. Now this is a lot better to Night 1 as it actually gives you something to do, but there's not a lot more to do. Yeah, there's a new ingredient and a new mechanic, but it's basically the whole waiting thing from the first night but longer, and bots don't really need breaks that much this night, and there's no danger because barely any of them need breaks. So it's just the first night, but things basically take longer. But it's definitely a step up. So similar to Lefty and Scrap Baby situation, it's definitely better, but not enough to make to the next tier. So it just barely doesn't make B tier, and we'll be getting a C tier also. Night 3 is when the game really starts to kick off with the inclusion of 2 new things. The first being the speed up button. If you feel a bot is taking too long with an ingredient, hitting the speed up button will cause them to make that ingredient faster for a certain amount of time, but in the return of them needing a break faster. The other thing that is added is that there's a chance of a bot or a staff bot walking by or driving by your window and will stop to see you. Then there's a chance of it giving you an order. You must fulfill this one's order and take it as your primary order. If you don't, then depending on what night, the bot might give you a chance to redeem yourself, or will turn into its nightmare form immediately and will attempt to come to your office and kill you, forcing you to use one of your lockdown buttons, well, as long as you have them. Now this is a really solid night, and this is exactly how any night should be once you get into the gist of things. It's just a good night, and this is where you actually start to focus on the things going on around you. So for being such a solid night, it's not a great night, it's not a bad night, it's just a good night. So we're going to be giving this B tier. Now this night is where the struggle really starts to kick in, as it adds 3 things. The first being a new ingredient again, which is being salt, and the other being that if ingredients get too full, then they'll become contaminated, forcing you to dump them, losing all of that ingredient. And the third being Chica. Chica will occasionally leave her area, which would be the garbage area, and will wander on to one of the cameras and start tampering with a product. Now, the way to get rid of her is to put like one of any ingredient just into the bin, and she will go back to her area. Now this night is really hard actually. Well, not really hard, but it's definitely quite difficult, as bots need breaks more often, more bots will ask you for orders, and it's quite annoying. But a way I found that this night isn't too bad is that using the contaminated ingredients in Chica, you can combine these 2 elements to make the night easier by just taking whatever ingredient you have the most of and giving it to Chica. Well, of course not all of it. But this night is actually quite a difficult night, and if you're not focused, can take multiple attempts. So again, it's a solid night, a good night, a hard night, so we'll be getting B tier. Now I wanted to give Night 5 its own section, as I think it's the perfect way to end the Fizzy Faz levels, as there's no big change, there's no boss fight, it's exactly what you've been doing before, but pumped up to 11. Production will be at an all-time slow, bots will need breaks a lot more often, and Chica will be constantly coming out of her trash area. All this just adds to a chaotic feeling, and it just feels like how a set of levels should end, reminiscent of how Night 5 used to be in the old FNAF games. There's not really anything different, it's just a hard night. I especially find this reminiscent of FNAF 2, as its chaoticness was a big factor of the game. All this adds to a level that I like a lot more than I think I really should, but I don't know, there's just something about this night and I really enjoy it. I mean, it just really keeps you on your toes and you don't get bored once throughout it. But I do have to complain, ingredients are a lot too slow. But it's not an amazing level, but it's just a really good level that I really enjoyed, and it's just a good final level. It's just a really good final level, and it's really chaotic, really hectic. So I'm going to be giving this level A tier, and we're finally done with Fizzy Faz. Oh, the endos. Where do I start? I could not stand the endos. The endos is a little memory game. You got some little cards on the table. You have to match up the colours whilst endos are coming to your left and right. You have to flash them with the camera, which has a cooldown, by the way, which I wasn't a big fan of. But I hate these endos. I hate them with a passion. I hate them so much. I hate the stupid camera mechanic. It's so annoying. I hated them Security Breach, and I still hate them now. They're stupid. They're annoying. There was no need to add them. They're just stupid little endos, bro. I hope they rot in those basements and die. Yes, you. I hate you. And then you're gonna add on the cards different shades of the colours. Different shades? Why? You run out of colours of do you not know your rainbow? Come on. It's ridiculous. I hate this level of passion. The worst level, one of the worst levels in the game. I hate it so much and it's so annoying. F. Now that we are finally done with staff only, we will be moving on to food prep, starting with El Chips. Now, I actually have a lot of fun with this level, and it's actually the level that I find myself coming back to the most. In this level, you must serve food to the staff bots, handling things like drinks, sides and sauces, whilst on a timer, and if you don't complete all tasks by the time the timer ends, of course, you are, well, jump scared. This level is a lot of fun, however, it's not really scary. It's more so stressful, as orders rack up, each harder than the last, with not a lot of time left on the timer. But nonetheless, it's a really fun level, so it just barely will be making an A tier. Next up, we have Pizza Pizza Pizza. This is basically just a slightly more complicated version of L-Chips. The difference is there are only 3 types of main food to make, but they require more steps to make, those being salads, pizzas, and pizzeritos. You'll also have Chica snooping around, however, she doesn't do anything. But, however, there is a massive problem with this level. It's not fair, let me explain. You see, when you fulfill an order, Chica will push the bar out of the way and kind of snatch the tray and start eating at it. As she does this, there's actually a chance she can knock the food off the tray, resulting in your death. I know, not fair. This has actually happened to me multiple times, and it even happened in the clip playing in the background. Also, sometimes a pizzerito machine just doesn't want to work and make pizzeritos when you try and put the pizza in, but it's not a problem that's too bad. It's mainly the Chica problem. So this is a really fun level, but it can get ruined by these problems, so it's going to be getting B tier. Last but not least, we have Fazbear Theatre. This is actually my new favourite food prep level. This is kind of a mix between L-Chips and Pizza Pizza Pizza, with some extra features such as new foods like popcorn, pretzels and blendis. One of the biggest changes to this level, however, are the endos, who I actually don't mind in this level. As you look away whilst doing orders, the endos will get closer, obviously, that's all they do. When they get too close, flash them to get rid of them. If they get too close, you obviously die. This level can get scary, hearing Chica walking around and the red glow of the endo eyes in the dark slowly progressing towards you, but it's not that scary. This level, however, is incredibly fun, in my opinion, better than L-Chips. So a level like this, fun with a decent fear factor, will be getting A tier. Also, this is supposed to be the hardest level, but I found it easy personally. I found Pizza 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 a lot harder than this. Now, the first level of Ticket Booth is Carousel, and this level is kind of short, depending on if you know what you're doing. In this level, you must complete repair tasks on the carousel whilst defending yourself against Moon. As you complete repairs on the carousel, Moon will creep up behind you. You must flash a light at him to send him back and prevent him from getting too close, otherwise you'll die. Not much to say about this level. It's a short and spooky level that was actually a little hard to rank, but it was fun. I had a lot of fun with this level, so it's going to be getting A tier. Next up, we have Captain Foxy's Log Ride. In this level, you simply shoot targets and get as high of a score as you can before the level ends. But there are secret alternate routes where you fend off from Jacko Moon whilst also collecting extra points. But to me, this level is pretty mid. It's not scary at all, and I just find the actual target shooting boring. It's not a lot of fun, but it's still kinda cool. So it's getting a B tier. To finish off Ticket Booth, we have Carousel Hard Mode. This is basically supposed to be a slightly more difficult version of normal Carousel, but I don't like this level. It's barely harder than the first, with tasks just taking longer, and I think Moon being slightly more aggressive, but I'm not sure about that one. It just feels like an excuse to reskin the map for Jacko Moon just for fan service reasons. So it's basically just a reskin of the first level. This adds a few pointless new things. Don't really like it, it's so boring of the levels. Yeah, so I'm gonna be giving it C tier. Okay guys, that's going to wrap up part 1 of this video. If you want to see part 2 where I go over all the levels I've missed, please leave a like down below and subscribe, and tell me in the comments what would you rank all these levels. Here's a look at our current rankings, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this far, you guys are awesome, and I'll see you guys later.